bandwidth to do this, Allan.
Okay.
Okay. Nope. Why did it do that?
I don't know. You froze up on your end. Maybe it is really cold there.
It is. I don't know. Now it's replaying here. Okay.
That's fine.
Oh, here we go. All right. There's going to be a bunch of stuff here at the beginning, but okay. Hopefully this thing works. We're live here with Allan Crockett, and I'm actually, before we get started, Allan, I'm going to hit record just to upload this to the cloud in case this okay, now we got a backup. Anyway, we're here live with Allan Crockett. We're talking about the Regenerative Legacy Summit that's happening virtually next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 16th through the 18th. Allan is a repeat speaker on the summit. He's a good friend, somebody that we trust. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about what he's going to be speaking about at the summit next week. So welcome, Allan. Just maybe kind of give us a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you, Jared. Good to be with you. I'm looking forward to next week. And last year's summit I thought went really well, and it was a good summit. I think this one will be even better. But when we talk about having a legacy business, in my mind, it comes right down to people. And if we don't have good relationships, and if we don't have the right people in place doing the right things at the right time, there's no way we can create a legacy business. So I want to be speaking a little bit about that and people problems and how to deal with people and get people on the same page and make sure we're all, pulling the cart the same direction and that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. And Jared, it requires, and you and I work together, it requires leadership. And without leadership and decision making, and even making tough decisions, the hard decisions, that's what leaders are there for, and that's what leadership is about. And being able to effectively delegate the things that need to be delegated, and work on the things you ought to be working on. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time next week, and we'll talk about that, and even looking at the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, and some of the things that you as a leader of your business can give up, that 80%, and keep that 20% and focus on that 20% and what that looks like and where that goes. And so if we're going to empower the next generation and bring more people into the business and have it truly be a legacy business, we have to be able to step aside ourselves and have a business that is not me dependent, it's not you dependent. It's systems are in place and people are in place, and we can step aside and allow some of those other people to do what they're capable of doing, and empower them to grow into their responsibilities and their positions in the business, and allow us to step back and do some of the things that would maybe expand the business, grow the business. For sure, succession planning is we want to step back and have somebody else take that over. So to me, that's those are the things I'm going to hit on next week.
That's great. Yeah, it's very, very needed. And is there any business too small to start thinking about creating a legacy plan? I mean, is this just going to be for more seasoned businesses, or would you recommend like startup businesses attend your class as well?
Yeah, the startup businesses, when we're in startup mode, that's what we're thinking about. We're in survival mode usually, and how do we keep this boat afloat? But it's never too early to start thinking about long-term vision and long-term expansion, if that's what it is. And then what it looks like when we step out of the business and allow that business to continue without us. So it's one of the things that I like to work with the clients, no matter where they are in the generations, if they're brand new to a business, if they've been there for a while, is how do we create a business that works without you being there? Because if it's ever going to be a legacy business, it has to be able to function without you. As important as we think we are, it's billions of people have died on this earth, and the earth keeps turning. The world keeps turning, and with or without those people, and we like to think that we're indispensable, and none of us are. And so, being able to think that through and have ourselves in a position that we realize, yeah, I've got a solid business that can survive without me, and things are in place and people are in place to make sure that that happens. And sometimes that sounds a little bit morbid. Well, what if I get bucked off a horse and killed, or kicked in the head, or in a car wreck, or whatever it is? And we don't want to, we don't get too excited about talking about our own funeral and that kind of thing. But yet we need to have a business that we could step away from. And even if it's to go on a service mission, or an extended vacation, or whatever it is, that we could literally step away from that business. And when we come back, it would be at least as good as it was when we left, if not better, as Kiyosaki says.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's a good measurement, is can you step away from your business? Another thing that we're going to be talking about here is to be truly successful in business, it has to be able to transfer into that next generation. I mean, we at Ag Steward, we look 7 generations into the future. Like, what are the decisions that we make today? How are they going to affect our great grandchildren? That's the type of legacy that we want to build. And so I appreciate that you bring the knowledge, the experience, and the expertise to be able to speak to this subject. And we really look forward to having you speak. Any final thoughts before we jump off here, Allan?
No, I guess final thoughts. I'm thank you, Jared, for allowing me to be on again. And I think as we look at that, there's no business too small, too young, too big, too old, to not look at the future and the impact that, like you say, we're going to have in future generations. And if we blow it, if we're the generation that blows it, then the next generation doesn't have that opportunity, and they have to start from scratch. And so if we can build something that's solid and set it up for future generations to enjoy and build on, and all of that comes back to regenerative agriculture, regenerative relationships, and being able to say things like I'm sorry and I apologize and I love you, and those kinds of things that are really healing and helpful in relationships, and to get along and be able to hold each other accountable and talk frankly and have good open conversations, and yet be friends when we walk away. And so to me, that's part of the legacy, because if you leave and the next generation takes over and you're not speaking to each other, where's the legacy in that? I mean, there is none. So we have to look at it from that perspective also. Yeah,
that's good. We've tried to incorporate a well-rounded group of speakers here. Not everybody from our industry. I mean, we've got Chris Miles speaking about off-farm investing or passive investing, and Dave Pratt from the Ranching for Profit School is going to be talking about the principles that need to go into building a legacy business. We've got individuals speaking on direct marketing and sell by marketing, Doug Ferguson and Jarrett Hammonds from Farm Rebel. And so we've tried to incorporate from different angles the bits and pieces. Maybe, if you walk away from one epiphany, one principle from each speaker that you can apply, then to me, that is well worth it. I mean,
absolutely
worth literally tens of thousands of dollars to your business, even this year, not over your business lifetime, but that's our hope, is that this year, I mean, this is a $10,000 event that is free. It's up to you to implement it and to create that capital for you. And I absolutely know that it can be done with the caliber of speakers that we have, but you got to show up and be there, be present. And if you can't be there for all 3 days, then catch the recording. we'll have that option, so you can go back, you can rewind, you can watch it, rewatch it. But we hope you can join us live, and there's going to be some perks and benefits to jumping on there live also. So
yeah, I hope you can too. I hope people will be there, because it's I know from my own perspective, a lot of times I can't make a webinar or something. I think I'll go back. All right, I'll go back and I'll watch the recording. And at least 75% of the time, it never happens. But if I'm there live, then I stay and I'm engaged and I'm involved and that kind of thing. So I would encourage, people that are listening to this to set aside those 3 days and be there and be engaged and be ready to learn and understand some things. I look at this and, if we're not making at least, at a very minimum, if we're not making $100,000 decisions, what are we talking about? And quite frankly, and you know me, Jared, you know that I'd much rather talk about a $500,000 decision than a $100,000 decision. And so let's change the way we think and the paradigms that we're dealing in, and start looking at ways that we can really make some powerful decisions. And I think with the lineup of speakers, people listening will have that opportunity to be engaged in those kinds of decision-making processes in their own business and for their own self. And like you say, that's this year, and then it just goes and goes and goes again. So
very good. Yeah, well, thank you for that, Allan. We appreciate that. Appreciate your willingness to speak on this. And so the landing page, the website address is legacy.agsteward.co. We'll try to put it in the comments here so you can join. It's free, and it starts next Tuesday. So we hope to see you there live. And Allan, can't remember what day you're going to speak, but we'll get the itinerary out. So if you just sign up, you're going to get an email confirmation with the Zoom link, when and where to show up, and a list of speakers and so forth. So thank you very much, Allan.
You bet. Thank you, Jared.